This is the 2024 Harley Sportster S. If you don't know who I am, my name is Ride with Rhea. I ride a Rebel 300. This has 1250 cc's and 121 horsepower. My Rebel has 25 horsepower, so this is 5 times more. And if you've been following my channel, you know I've been test riding a bunch of different motorcycles to see which one will be my next upgrade. Will it be the Sportster S? Keep watching to find out. But first, I want to give a huge shout out to Brent at Chase Hawaii Rentals. Thank you so much for letting me rent out this Harley. This is a 19-year-old business in the heart of Waikiki, and they're actually the only authorized Harley-Davidson rental company on Oahu. So if you're visiting or if you live here and you want to rent out a Harley, definitely check them out. I'm going to be doing something different in this video and giving this bike a score at the end, which I'm calling the Rhea view. So it'll have the typical categories like power, handling, and braking, but also some personalized categories from the point of view of a beginner and also someone that's a bit shorter. For example, muscle mommy as a category, which basically means, can I handle the weight of the bike? Can I back it up? Will this bike be too heavy for me realistically? Hopefully these specialized categories will give you guys a better idea of what it's like to own a motorcycle like this. Now, with that in mind, let's first quickly dive into some specs of this bike. The Sportster S is a blend of classic Harley-Davidson style with modern performance. It somewhat resembles the classic Sportster look, but it's powered with a new high-performance engine. The Revolution Max 1250 is a liquid-cooled V-twin engine that produces 121 horsepower and 94 foot-pounds of torque. This engine is a big step away from the traditional air-cooled engines that Harley-Davidson has used for decades. This bike also has a number of other modern features, like a fully adjustable suspension, Brembo brakes, say that 5 times fast, a lightweight chassis. They claim it has a comfortable seat. We'll have to test that because this looks really thin. And they've got a wide range of electronic features, which is new for Harleys because when you look at the classic Sportster, they didn't really have much going for them. But on this new one, it's full color touchscreen. You can pair with your phone and get GPS navigation. It's got 6-speed manual transmission, and it's also a keyless start, which is pretty fancy. Now that we've covered some of the specs and what makes the Sportster S so cool, let's get into my first impressions and a ride test. Forward controls! I'm adjusting the mirrors. I feel really big and tall on this, but the turning is really stiff. I think it's because the front tire's so fat. Woo, this thing has some power to it. Yeah, wait a second. These forward controls are nice. It's so comfortable. Okay, I take it back. I think the forward controls are a bit too forward for me. Can I back this thing up? Hold on. Ah. Where's that? Yeah, look how big the front tire is. Why is it too rear? Keyless start. Okay, fancy schmancy. There's so many buttons. Like seriously, this is too much, but I mean it's got all the tech, so you can connect this thing to Bluetooth. What else? GPS. Wow, the turning is so weird. I don't know. I haven't decided if it's a good or bad weird. It's definitely different and stiff. Okay, there's no like, what is this? Where's the suspension on this? Right? No? Right. Oh my, no, I don't like that. You really feel every bump on this thing. Woo, this thing's got power. Okay, I will. Wow. Oh, this is fun. Okay, this is a breeze. All right, I'm not gonna go too fast though. I'm already at 56, and this doesn't even feel like we're even going that fast. Wow. See, that's where it gets tricky. Oh, I see how people can easily speed. It's like, it feels so comfortable. Wow. It's super tall. I don't like that.
This is how I felt on the Ducati. Just like I'm gonna fall over the handlebars. I can feel it yelling at me to go faster. I'm gonna try, okay? Ready? Did that look funny? Okay, wait, I'm gonna try again. Just roll. Yeah. That's awesome. This is fun. This is fun. But that's crazy. Whoa, okay. That pothole sucked. I felt that in my arms. In my bones. I felt. Wow. Can you make it? Okay. This is comfortable, but I can see it not being comfortable after a long ride. I don't know, I'll have to see. We'll have to see. Woo! Alright. Going to do some twisties with the bikes. When you were on this, did you feel like you were elevated, like a sport bike? Yeah, this is pretty interesting. It is like a naked bike, for sure. If you prefer like the cruiser style, laid back kind of thing, like this is obviously not the bike for you. Because it has that more hybrid, trying to be more sporty look and feel. Wow. This handles really nicely. Wow, 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 wow. Dang. Right, okay. Right, yeah. Right. This is nothing. Alright, stopping a little bit because these people are turning. You're such a great riding partner. Yeah. I feel very comfortable riding with you. Whee! Oh, there it is.
That was fun. But I feel like I was going a little slow, okay, because I'm like new and I didn't want to fall over. It was so heavy that I felt like I was gonna slip or fall, and I didn't want to drop this, so I was just being very careful. But oh my goodness. And it's so steep. Oh! Oh! But you know, hey, I give myself credit because this is a beast, so okay. So what are my final thoughts? Oh, and this is me at the gas station, by the way. The light came on telling me I was out of gas. This is a 3.1 gallon fuel tank and has around 49 miles per gallon, which is not a lot. My Rebel 300 has a fuel tank capacity of 3 gallons too, but it gets around 78 miles per gallon. And that impacts the range, right? So the Sportster S, taking the route that I did, I already had to fill it up before I made my way back to the rental place. If I was on my Honda Rebel, I probably would have been able to ride that route twice without even having to fill it up. And now the moment you've been waiting for, the review. I decided to rank the bikes that I've already tried on this list, so that's why you'll see the Sportster Iron 883, the Honda Rebel 300, which I own, and then the KTM Duke 390. I was going to put the Ducati Monster on this list, but I didn't really get to try it out fully, so I'm going to wait for a part 2 before I can officially rank it. Okay, so the first category is power, and oh my gosh, this bike was powerful. I think it was the most powerful bike I've ever been on. So for me, that gets an 8. All right, next is handling, and it did pretty well overall. I would give it a higher score if it was just a bit less rigid and stiff during some of the turns. So my score for this is a 7.5. Braking is pretty good. It has ABS. It has a lot of stopping power in the front brake, obviously, because that's the majority of your stopping power, and it really bites. But the foot brake, I felt like I needed to apply a lot of pressure in order to use it, and I don't know, I wasn't really fully satisfied, but I would still give this a 7.5. All right, my next category, if can, if no can, no can, which basically means, can I flat foot it? If I can flat foot it, I can. If I can't, no can. Do you guys understand? I would give this an 8 because it's not like a typical cruiser where the seat height's super low. It's kind of raised. You feel like you're sitting on a throne a little bit. I could still flat foot it, but it's just not as low as some other bikes out there. All right.
Muscle mommy.
Is it too heavy? What's the weight like? I think it's around 500 pounds, and yeah, it's heavy, for sure. Especially for me, someone my size. Is it a bit too heavy? I don't know. I can still manage it, but I don't know if it's practical, so I'm gonna give it a 6. All right, next category, couch potato or taco mode. You're definitely in the clamshell taco mode zone, but honestly, it wasn't too bad. The forward controls take a little bit of getting used to if that's not your typical ride. And for this bike, you can get them to put mid controls, but I'm going to rate this on the fact that it has the forward controls, so I'm gonna give it a 6.5. It's not horrible, but I feel like after riding it for a while, it can get a bit uncomfy. Now, practicality. Do I see myself riding this around? Is it gonna be my daily driver? Yes and no. I guess for where I live, I don't really see much of a need for the amount of power that it offers and the fact that it has cruise control. Where am I going to be using cruise control here? So maybe for you it can be more practical. For me, I'm going to give it a 7. I could see myself owning it, but I can also see myself not realistically owning it. Now, techie bits. Ooh, this is going to get a high rating because it's got some really nice features. Of course, I mentioned the cruise control. It's got a keyless start. It's got the LED touchscreen that's in color. It's got so many cool things that you're like, wait, is this a Harley? Hello? What happened? It's even got heated hand grips. What? But actually, I think if you buy it stock, you still have to get some sort of thing to get them to work. It just has the button for them. I don't know. So yeah, with all the features and things, I'm gonna give this an 8. Next is the coolness category. How does it look and feel to ride? Now, this is very subjective, okay, but this isn't called the Review for nothing. I'm gonna give it the score I think it deserves, which is an 8.5, because honestly, it felt really cool to ride this. And I was skeptical at first, especially when it first came out and I was comparing it to the classic Sportster look. And if I'm being really honest, nothing will beat that look. But this is new and modern and different, and I gotta give them credit for designing something like this, and it's cool in its own way. The more I was riding it, the more it grew on me, so that's why originally I was gonna give it a lower score, but I decided to give it the 8.5. Next category is vibes. Different from coolness, don't get those confused. So this vibes category can mean a bunch of different things, but I made it for those bikes that are just, you know, silly, they look a bit odd, and maybe they're not the most practical, but they're still really awesome. So does this fit into that category? I felt a bit silly riding it because it's got this weird hybrid kind of look to it. It's very different. Was it a joy to ride? Absolutely. It was so fun. So I'm going to give this a 7.5. Next category is modability. And not only does this require it to be easy to mod, but also affordable. And for the first time, a Harley is not getting a high score because, again, this is newer, right? They don't have many mods available for this bike. So maybe the score will go up as time goes on. So I'm going to give this a 6.5. And finally, we have value. Is it worth the money? Now, this bike is expensive, but is it worth it? I don't know, you know, it has a lot of power and really cool features and it has a nice look to it, but compared to other bikes that are out there on the market that are similar to this, you might get better value there. So I'm gonna give it a 6. So now the final RIA score is 87. Wow, which puts it at the top of my list. I was not expecting it to have such a high score because I feel like I was a little harsh in some of the categories, but there you have it. What do you guys think of my scoring? You know, the purpose of this was for me to find my next motorcycle upgrade, and I'm getting closer for sure. So I definitely want to try out a few more bikes before I make my final decision. And I think making this ranking system is really helpful for me, so hopefully maybe it's helpful for you or gives you guys some better insight on these types of bikes. But overall, I had so much fun riding this. I still cannot believe I got my hands on the new Sportster S. I really gotta thank Chase Hawaii Rentals again because they're awesome. They always have the latest and greatest Harleys available to rent, so that means you guys can rent this out too. I really hope you guys enjoyed watching this video and coming along with me on my journey of finding my next motorcycle upgrade. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.